In the world of military aviation, there are moments when time stops, hearts race, and a single decision decides the fate of an entire mission. This is one of those moments, when a U.S. Air Force C-17 Globemaster was forced into an emergency takeoff under extreme pressure. What happened next became a story of skill, courage, and pure precision. The C-17 Globemaster III is a symbol of American air power, a massive, powerful machine built to transport troops, tanks, and supplies across continents. It's a lifeline for missions in the harshest environments, capable of operating on short and unprepared runways. But even this engineering marvel faces moments that test the limits of man and machine. It was a hot, tense afternoon at a forward operating base. The air was thick with heat and dust, and storm clouds were forming on the horizon. The C-17 stood ready, loaded to capacity with cargo, equipment, and personnel. Everything was running according to plan until a sudden alert came through. Unidentified aircraft were detected approaching the airspace. The threat was real, and the clock was ticking. The radio crackled with a sharp command: C-17, you are cleared for immediate takeoff. There was no time to waste. The runway was shorter than standard, the aircraft was fully loaded, and the weather conditions were unstable. Every factor was against them. Yet, failure wasn't an option. The pilots knew exactly what to do. Inside the cockpit, the crew moved with calm precision. Checklists ran fast. Flaps were adjusted, fuel flow confirmed, and the engines began to spool up. The roar of 4 massive Pratt & Whitney turbofan engines filled the air. The pilot's voice cut through the tension. Flaps set, thrust max, brakes released, go. The C-17 began its roll, heavy and slow at first. The sound of the engines intensified as the aircraft accelerated down the short runway. The wheels thundered over the concrete, and the crew could feel the weight of over 500,000 pounds resisting lift. The end of the runway rushed closer, every second felt like an eternity. A call came from the co-pilot: airspeed alive, rotate. The pilot pulled back gently on the yoke. For a heartbeat, it felt like the giant bird wouldn't make it. Then, with an enormous surge of thrust, the aircraft lifted off just seconds before the runway ended. It clawed into the sky, engines screaming, rising faster than expected. But taking off was only the beginning. The airspace ahead was hostile, with potential enemy radar locks and surface threats. The pilots executed a high-angle climb, a combat maneuver rarely used in transport missions. The aircraft angled steeply upward, defying its own mass. G-forces pressed against the crew's chests, every sensor and gauge trembling from the intensity of the climb. Inside the cockpit, communication was brief and focused. Altitude increasing, power stable, climb rate optimal. The pilots worked in perfect sync, adjusting thrust, trim, and flaps to maintain control. The aircraft cut through turbulence and thin clouds, climbing rapidly to escape radar detection. From the ground, it looked unreal, a heavy transport jet performing like a fighter plane. The power of its engines and the skill of its crew turned what could have been a disaster into a display of mastery. The C-17 climbed higher, the horizon widening below, until it finally broke through the cloud cover. The sunlight spilled across the wings, and the radio confirmed what they'd been waiting to hear: C-17, radar contact lost. You're clear. A silence filled the cockpit. For a few seconds, no one spoke. Then came a quiet sigh of relief. The crew exchanged looks, not of celebration, but of mutual respect. They had done what they were trained for, what countless hours of preparation had prepared them to do. The aircraft leveled off at cruising altitude, engines humming steadily now. Below, the danger zone faded into the distance. Above, clear blue skies stretched endlessly. The pilots knew this was just another day in the life of the Air Force, where every mission demands perfection, and every second counts. The C-17 continued its journey, carrying its precious cargo to safety. On the ground, few would ever know what had happened, how close it came to disaster, how much depended on skill and instinct. But for those inside that cockpit, the moment would never be forgotten. This emergency takeoff wasn't just about power or technology. It was about human performance under pressure, the kind that separates professionals from the rest. The kind that defines the U.S. Air Force. Every control input, every checklist, every call-out during that tense takeoff told a story of discipline and trust. These pilots don't fly for glory. They fly for duty, for their country, and for the lives depending on them. The C-17 Globemaster may be a machine of metal and might, but its real strength lies in the people who operate it. They are the reason it can rise from impossible conditions and turn near disaster into victory. The world may see just another aircraft taking off, but aviators see something else, the perfect combination of engineering excellence and human determination. When the engines roar and the ground falls away, it's a reminder that courage, precision, and teamwork can overcome any challenge. In the skies that day, the U.S. Air Force once again proved what it stands for: excellence, readiness, and the relentless pursuit of mission success. The C-17 flew on, disappearing into the horizon, a silver shadow against the sun, carrying not just its cargo, but a legacy of resilience and pride. Because when pressure rises and the impossible becomes reality, that's when heroes take flight.